Well, Edward Schumacher-Matos is a Latin America expert and professor at Columbia Journalism School and joins us live from New York. Nicolas Maduro has stepped up as interim leader. He has some massive shoes to fill. Can he do it?
Well, he's no Chavez. I mean, you can't have Chavismo without Chavez, but he'll have a tremendous amount of sympathy support, at least for a while.
So you think he's going to win these elections, but then is he going to be able to continue on Chavez's legacy?
That's a great question. I mean, if the elections are quick, he's favored to win. He should win. And they're supposed to be called within 30 days. But if for some reason it gets drawn out longer than that, then you'll begin to see fractures in Chavez's own party. And Maduro is not a sure bet to continue to lead it.
But what sort of
There's a guy who's head of the General Assembly, a fellow named Diosdado Cabello, who was a former military guy like Chavez, and in some ways he's more charismatic than Maduro, and he could challenge Maduro for leadership of the movement.
What sort of country will these new leaders be inheriting? I mean, there's no doubt that millions of people love Chavez for his focus on social welfare programs, but what sort of state is the country's finances in?
They're not in very good financial shape at all. Inflation is running at more than 20%. Recently, there's a huge devaluation of the bolivar, some 50%. Right now, the official rate is running at about 6.2 to the dollar, but the black market rate's running at about 25 to the dollar. There's shortages of flour, of meat, other things like that. No, I mean, Venezuela is a very rich country for all the oil it has and the money that generates. But if they hadn't devalued, the government would have found itself in a huge deficit. The devaluation solves that problem, but it just fuels inflation.
Why is that? Is it simply mismanagement? Is the country too dependent on oil? It hasn't diversified enough?
Yes, it's a mix of all that. It's bad management on the part of the government, a tremendous amount of corruption. And they've never been able to get off of oil. And it hasn't helped that there have been all these expropriations of foreign-owned companies and local companies so that private business doesn't want to invest in Venezuela.
And just lastly, the U.S. is saying that it's looking for a new era in relations with Venezuela. Do you think they're going to be able to get that?
They've wanted it, and they actually began reaching out to Maduro last fall. But Maduro, has kicked out two military attaches today, accusing them of meddling. Now, is this just an election ploy so that he can keep up support? Were these guys doing something they shouldn't have been doing? I have no idea. The U.S., I'm sure, will try to reach out to him, but between now and the elections, I don't think they'll be able to do anything.
Okay, Edward Schumacher-Matos, thanks very much for joining us there from New York.
My pleasure. Yeah.